TypeScript is an open source programming language from Microsoft, and it is a superset of JavaScript. TypeScript extends JavaScript by adding types. So I just created a JavaScript file with the extension .js. Now if I say x equals and I give another value, which is a string value, and you can see there is no error, a new file, and this I will call as basic.ts. So ts is the extension for TypeScript. And now if I just copy the same code here, and here you can see I have got a red line here under x. So if I hover over it, it says type string is not assignable to type number. Eventually compiles down to plain JavaScript. And we also say it transpiles down to plain JavaScript, and it adds the type support to JavaScript. Errors are identified even before you run your code during the compilation type. It also adds IntelliSense and code completion. And this is because now we know that x is a number. So as I will say x dot, it will give me all the code completion and IntelliSense for the number data type of JavaScript. So therefore we have a very good support in terms of IntelliSense and code completion, and therefore it makes our code more efficient and less error prone. For getting TypeScript, we need Node.js. So this is the first step. Check if Node is already installed, and you can say node space hyphen version, and this will give you the version of Node in case it is installed. And if you get command not found, that means Node is not installed. You can also just say node space hyphen v, which is the short form, and npm minus v also. Npm is the Node package manager, and it will get installed as you install Node.js. You can get Node.js for your operating system and then install it. Once Node.js is there, you can check with these command node space hyphen v and npm space hyphen v, and then we have to install TypeScript. Now you can install TypeScript globally, or you can also add TypeScript to a specific folder or to a specific project. And now I will say npm install -g flag is to install the library globally on the system, and then I will say TypeScript. Now if you hit enter, it will install the latest stable version of TypeScript, but if you want, you can also say add and can give some particular version number in case you want some particular version number, or you can just say next to get the nightly builds of TypeScript. But for now I will go with the latest stable version, and I will hit enter, and this will download and install TypeScript. Next step, I can also check the version of TypeScript by saying tsc space hyphen v. So tsc is TypeScript compiler, and I will say -v, and it will show me the version. So this is the latest stable version. Once you have Visual Studio Code, we can now add support for JavaScript, TypeScript, and Code Runner on VS Code. And the first thing you will get here is welcome screen. You can also go to help and again get the welcome screen. And here you will see that there will be some support for tools and languages. And here you can find JavaScript and TypeScript. Whatever is not installed will be highlighted in blue. In my case, JavaScript is already added, so you can see it is not highlighted. So in your case, if you are seeing JavaScript and TypeScript support here, you can just click and get it. The other way is you can go to the extensions here. This is the icon for extensions. And here you can search for JavaScript, and you can see all the plugins and extensions here. After you have added the support, also you can get Code Runner. Code Runner will help to run directly from the editor. So again, search for Code Runner here in the extensions, and you can see this is the Code Runner. In my case, it is already added. So it will actually add this button, a run button, where you can directly run your code. So it has support for TypeScript, JavaScript, and everything. So once you have got this, we can move to step number 5, that is create a new folder and then open this folder in Visual Studio Code. I will go to my D drive and go to projects, and let me create a new project for TypeScript, and I will open this in Visual Studio Code. Go to the Explorer, and here I can go to File and say Open Folder. I can also create a new window and then open there, but let me just open the folder here, and I will go to my D drive, Projects, and TypeScript, and I will say Select Folder. And you can now see the TypeScript folder has come here, and now here I have options to create a new file or create a new folder or collapse everything. So we have done step number 5, uninstall TypeScript from my system. I will say npm uninstall -g TypeScript, and if I say tsc -v, so as of now TypeScript is uninstalled. I will exit from here, and now I'm going to add TypeScript in a local folder. The first step is obviously we have to get Node.js, which I already have, and now I have to download IDE, that is Visual Studio Code. Again, I have this. Then I have to create a new folder and open in VS Code. I have to now run the commands npm init -y, and I will tell you what it is. So you can see as of now my folder is empty. There is no file or any subfolders here. I will now here say npm init -y. So npm init is a command to initialize a node project so that we can add all the node dependencies within this project, within a folder in this project, and it is not available outside this project. And for that, we need a file called package.json, and this file will get created when we run the command npm init. If you do not use -y, then you will get some questions that you have to answer, but if you say -y, it will use all the default options. So I will hit enter, and you will see it has created package.json file, and you can now see it has got all these information here. And as we add our TypeScript, it will also give the details of the library or the packages added. So we have done step number 4. Now you can run the next command, that is npm install TypeScript, and this will install TypeScript only for this project and only within this folder. This is a good way to keep your system clean, and also in case you do not have access to all the folders on your system, it is a good way. It is also helpful in case you want to keep different projects with different versions of the libraries. For example, I want to create one more project with a different version of TypeScript and other libraries. This is a great way so that I have not installed the library or the package globally. It is only within that folder, TypeScript, and I will hit enter. And yes, now I should get a TypeScript added to this project and to this folder. And now you can see if I go to my package.json, you can see here it has showing this is the library or the package added. Now there is also a meaning of this cap symbol. I will explain this to you later, but if you want, you can also search for this. But what I'm going to show you is here you can see now we have got a folder called node modules. And if I open this, you can see I have got TypeScript here. And now all the files, all the packages, all the libraries I add will come here. It is also very handy that if I have to take this project to any other system, I will just have to run a single command and it will manage and get all the dependencies, all the packages that is required for this project. So we have done step number 4, and I can now check if TypeScript is installed. Now, if you see earlier we were running the command tsc -v when we have installed TypeScript globally, but now I will have to use npx. Npx is for running the npm commands on a local folder. So I will say npm tsc -v, and you can see I have got this version of TypeScript, and create a new folder here. And I will call this as test, and it is now here. And inside this test folder, I'm going to create a new file. So this is step number 2. I will create a new file called basics.ts. The file name can be anything, but the extension should be ts for TypeScript. So I will create a new file here, and I will call this as basics.ts and hit enter, and the file is created here. Step number 3 is I will write the code. So in TypeScript, to create or declare any variable, we say let. So I will say let, and I will give a variable name, let's say name, and within single quotes I'm going to give the value. So I will give my name here, and you can use a semicolon at the end, or even if you do not use it, that is optional. Then I will say console.log. This is to print on the console, and I will say I will use the backtick key, double backtick key, and this is the key just below your escape key. And here I will say hello, and to refer the variable name I will say $, and in curly brackets I will give the value that is the name of the variable, that is name. And I'm getting some errors here. So if you see here in the name variable, if I hover over, it says cannot declare block scoped variable name, and it was also declared here. So what happens in TypeScript is it considers this to be a script and not a block, and to make it a block you can use export or import statements at the top. So as I write export here, you can see the error is gone, and now this is a error-free code. I will run the command tsc, that is TypeScript compiler, and the file name. So I can say here tsc, and because my file is inside the test folder, first I will have to go to test folder, and then I will have to write the file name like basics.ts and hit enter. Now here in my case, you can see it is saying tsc is not recognized because I have created a node project and I have installed TypeScript as a local package in this folder in this project. So for using the node module, that is TypeScript, I will have to use npx. So let me say here, I will say npx, and then I will say tsc and the name of the file. And if I hit enter, you will now see it will compile the TypeScript and it will create a JavaScript file. You can now see here it has created a JavaScript file with the same name, and you can see here, you can now see this is my JavaScript. You can also see some changes here. In TypeScript I used let for declaring variables. The same has been converted to where in JavaScript, and you can see all these changes here. So we have also done step number 6, that is the JavaScript file is now created. Step number 7 is now we have to run our JavaScript. It should be node and basics.js. It should be node actually. Yes, there's a mistake in this slide here. This should be node. I will correct it in the notes. So just take note of this. This should be node and the file name. And you can now see here it is printing hello Raghav, whatever we had written in our program. So this is step number 7. And now we have already done this, adding a export statement at the top because we were getting the errors, which we have already done earlier. This is the export statement we have added. And then step number 9 is, if you see here, if I make any changes to my TypeScript, let us say instead of hello, I say good morning. Now, if I go and run my JavaScript file directly, you can see it is still saying hello Raghav. So I will again have to compile it, and then I have to run the JavaScript file. And of course, I will have to use npx for running it locally. I will say tsc and the file name, that is basics and -- watch, and hit enter, and it will start compilation, and then this is done. Now if you see, if I make any changes and I will save, you will see it will auto detect and then start the compilation. And let me open another terminal, and here I will directly run the node and run the JavaScript file, and you can see it is saying hi Raghav. So this is now working fine. So these are the 9 steps, and in this session the important commands that we learned were tsc and the file name, the TypeScript file name. This is to compile the TypeScript code. Node and the compiled JavaScript file name to run the compiled JavaScript code, and then tsc and the file name and -- watch to compile the TypeScript file on every change. I hope this was very useful for you.